Hey y'all, welcome back. If you guys want to learn how to create the easiest lasagna, keep on watching. I'm going to show you guys what you need. So you're going to need some ground beef, of course. You're going to need some brown sugar, some crushed tomatoes, some lasagna noodles, some cheese, your Southern City Girl seasonings, some spaghetti sauce, bell peppers, garlic butter, onions, and garlic. So I'm not even gonna lie, this is like an easy but time consuming process. So what you want to do is get you a nice little skillet. I like to use cast iron. It cooks evenly and it's very heavy, what you need for this heavy dish. So I'm gonna put my ground beef in there. I ended up using that whole pack of ground beef, and baby, it was a lot. So that was about like 2 pounds of ground beef. So if you wanna create just a dish enough for like maybe let's say 4 people, just do like a pound, anywhere between a half a pound and a pound, you should be good. And you do a half a box of noodles, da 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 da. I'll type out the recipe and I'll leave the link in the description. Okay. So basically, what you want to do is brown that ground beef. I was about to say ground that ground beef, but brown that ground beef. Flip it, but you do not want to overcook it. It's okay if you leave a little bit of pink in there. That's fine because it's still going to continue to cook inside of the oven. You just don't want a lot of pink, but you also don't want to overly cook it because, like I said, it's still going to continue to cook in the oven. And then that's when you get that real hard, rubbery type of ground beef. Ain't nobody like that. So I ended up draining it. But with the same skillet, I am going to add my crushed tomatoes that I was telling y'all about. I used 2 cans. And remind you now, I use like about 2.5 pounds of ground beef. So yeah, 2 cans of crushed tomatoes and about 2 cans of regular tomato sauce. So you just want to add that to the skillet and then mix it, of course. And I'm not sure if I mentioned what I did with the ground beef, but I took it out and I put it in a colander or basically like a strainer, and I'm straining out all of the oil. I did not season the meat. I didn't put my onions and peppers in there. No, none of that because I knew that the meat needed to be drained afterwards. So when you have to drain the meat, you're going to drain out your seasonings if you put it in there early on. So that's why I just cooked the meat first. But anyway, we're just going to go ahead and add that sauce. So I added the crushed or chopped garlic in the water. You guys remember I showed y'all at the beginning of the video. You can also add fresh garlic, but I didn't have none, and this works best for me anyway in pasta like dishes. That garlic that's already chopped because it's real chopped and it's real fine, and I like it like that. So yeah, that's what I use. I use about, oh baby, like about an eighth of a cup of it. I love a lot of garlic. Next I added in my onions and bell peppers that I also showed you at the beginning of the video. I chopped all of those up by hand, by the way. Girl, you could use a food processor, but I just be feeling like anybody else use the food processor. I bought it and I use it like once or twice. I use it really for my guacamole. But baby, it just be too much to clean afterwards. It's like, damn, I might as well have just chopped it myself. Like, but anyway, yeah, we just gonna mix that in and we're gonna let that simmer. Remind you now, my pot is on medium low, low medium heat. Because tomato sauce will burn and it will burn real quick, and it will also render down, I believe, reduce. It'll reduce down. Also, as you guys can see, I just added garlic butter. Now, is that butter? Butter makes everything taste better, number one. But that garlic butter really adds that extra herby, garlicky, roasted taste to the dish. So yeah, I added some garlic butter. I know y'all never seen nobody do that. Side note, I forgot to mention, I started boiling my noodles 20 minutes before I actually started even preparing the meat because the noodles take a while to cook because they're big and they're clunky and you can't really crack them in half like you can spaghetti noodles. So yeah. So now I'm just going to add my brown sugar. I added about maybe 2, 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. Now, I know y'all probably like, girl, what sugar? Why you putting sugar in pasta? But sugar actually helps with the acid of the tomatoes and the fresh vegetables and everything. So you definitely want to add those. So I'm adding some ground black pepper. I use a lot of black pepper opposed to salt. So you will see me add like everything. I added my Southern City Girl seasoning, so black pepper, no salt, seasoning salt, also garden garlic, onion, and herbs, which I actually named garden garlic and herbs. Also the salt and black pepper from Southern City Girl as well. So pretty much I use the whole line except for the lemon pepper. And we're just gonna mix that on in. Just fold that on in. Baby, them seasonings come in clutch, okay? So yeah, we're just gonna mix that in and it is simmering like I said again. And y'all gonna see a lot of fingers in this video. Now this video number one is mad. Oh, I recorded this like last year and I just found it on my hard drive. But yeah, girl, you gonna see a lot of hands. I do wash my hands thoroughly, and in between I wash my hands, I have like a little scrubber by my sink to get under my nails and everything, so you do not have to worry about that. So yeah, you guys remember, I told you I strained the meat. So what I ended up doing was, of course, laying a roll of noodles, and then I put the cheese on top of the noodles. I know some people normally do the noodles and meat, but I do the cheese because it melts on the noodles and it kind of keeps the noodles together. So when you cut into it, don't break apart as easy. So I do noodles, cheese, meat, sauce. But since my pot was so small, I normally like to mix my meat in with the sauce first instead of layering it like this, because when you layer it like this, you'll see at the end, like, it's just too many layers. I don't like too many significantly different layers. I don't know how to explain it. But normally I would just create a meat sauce with my meat and my tomato sauce instead of layering it on top of that, like that. But anyway, after the sauce, I put the cheese, then I put another layer of noodles. And I underestimated how much I made. So you will see that I packed this um, dish heavily, and that will affect the end result, because you guys will notice like at the end the cheese isn't really as melted because I had to pull it out the oven earlier. Number one, because I wanted to be done recording, but number two, it started to like drip out the sides. So yeah, you want to make sure your lasagna is actually inside of the dish, not like leveled. And I knew better than that, but I was being lazy and I was just like, I'm not about to sit here and make a mess at this point. So as you can see, it's getting real full. So yeah, that's pretty much all I did. And then I baked the lasagna on 375 for about like an hour, hour and a half. Um, you just want to wait till it like kind of bubble a little bit. When you start to see it bubbling and it's bubbling a lot, that means pretty much it's heated throughout the whole entire pan. So everything is pretty much cool. Or you could just leave it, like I said, for an hour and a half, and then it definitely should be done. So I'm putting a lot of cheese, and then you guys will see I put a layer of noodles on top. That's because I made the whole box of noodles, and I didn't need that many noodles. But I also like a lot of noodles sometimes. But yeah, normally I would just leave the cheese as the last layer, but whatever. I had too many noodles, and I was not throwing them away. So like I said, I wrapped it with foil, put it in the oven on 375, baked it for like an hour, hour and a half, and then you will see the end results. So yeah, this is pretty much the end result. As you can see, like the sauce started dripping out the pan. That's what I meant, but I had to take it out early. But I let the lasagna sit for about 30 minutes. I know this is so ghetto. I put the plate right on top, but I really did not have no space on my counter to really put it there because I was having like all this equipment and everything around. But yeah, pretty much that's the lasagna. And this is what I mean by, you see the separate layer between the cheese and the sauce. Just make sure I'm not the cheese and the sauce and the meat. Make a meat sauce so that you don't have that issue. But overall, it still was good though. Girl, look at the Instagram pictures. Anywho, thank you for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you comment and subscribe. And just follow all my tips and your lasagna will come out way better than mine, okay? Period.